Welcome to Biology 101, everybody. My name is Colin McLeod, and I will be your instructor. A little bit about me, just so you know who I am. I've been teaching for 10 years. This is my 11th year. Actually, boy, I'm losing track of time. This is my 12th year. I spent much of my career teaching advanced biology in high school, some pretty difficult courses, if you've heard of AP, IB, A levels. And I've recently moved to the community college um, uh, teaching, and I'm an adjunct here. That means I'm part-time, and I really like teaching here. I'm happy to be your instructor, and I hope that we have a really smooth course. Firstly, a little bit about the nature of online courses. So we're not going to have back and forth sorts of conversations live. So what that means is that there's a little bit less opportunity to rapidly ask me questions about something I've just said because it's an uploaded recording. So the accommodation that needs to be made for that is that a lot of communication is in writing. So you really got to read through everything. Make sure that you look at all the tabs on Blackboard, investigate them, find where the course lessons are, look at the course lessons tab, open all the folders. When it says chapter 1, look there. Where it says start here, welcome, look there, read everything. Everything that's posted on Blackboard is basically you must read it. I'll make some announcements and also give you some directions on a weekly basis as sort of the what you should do, when you should do it, what order. However, it is all pretty much self-explanatory in the syllabus in terms of what chapter is going to be covered each week, when are the quizzes due, when are the exams. So if I said nothing, which I won't, I'll say a lot throughout the quarter, it is all there. All the information you need to know what to do and when to do it is on the syllabus. So please be sure to read through that really thoroughly. The first week there is a syllabus quiz, which you'll have to do. That's sort of my way of making sure that you have actually read through it. So here we go. Little bit about the course syllabus. This is just a screenshot here. You can see course syllabus is the Science Department Introduction to Biology 1. Note that there is also a Bi 102 and 103, depending on the reasons for you taking this course to fill a general requirement or whatever your reasons are. There are also two other introductory courses, and they cover material that is, I'm sorry to say, maybe more interesting for some of you. This course is largely about the cell. We'll talk a little bit about biochemistry, atoms, and then we're really talking about the cell mostly. So if you're more interested in ecology, evolution, organismal biology like physiology, how do people work, how do plants work, then you might look at 102 and 103. The problem with your instructors, all of them, is that they think everything they talk about is interesting. So do I. I chose biology as my major. I got a bachelor's degree from Western Washington University in biology, and then I got my master's from the University of Nebraska Kearney. I'm also a K through 12 certified teacher, so I really love teaching biology, and I think it's all interesting, and I hope to make it as interesting as possible for you. A note on whether or not something is interesting. Firstly, I respect the fact that many of you are extremely busy. Some of you have kids, maybe multiple jobs, and to that end, one of my main priorities is to respect your time and try to be as efficient as possible. Obviously, I cannot just make everything really easy and not that much reading or lecture because it's a college level course and you have to read a lot. But my point is sometimes I would like to really make things more interesting and I'd like to go into some examples of things, but in the interests of just respecting the amount of time you have available for this course, I'm trying to be as efficient as possible, teach you what you need to know based on what the Rowe Community College has told me I must teach. I'm trying to just do that as efficiently as possible in order to respect your time. So in accordance with that, let's go. Lecture, that is right here, lecture, and you can read through the syllabus online if I scribble over some of this. So recorded lectures will be posted on Blackboard and can be viewed anytime after they are posted. They'll be posted each Monday morning by 8 a.m. for the week. This is a new course for me. I taught the lab section of it over the summer, but I haven't created all of these lectures in advance. So at the very latest, at the beginning of each week, I'll post all of the week's lectures by 8 a.m. on that Monday. I will try to be more like 2 weeks ahead. So if you right now you should see week 1 and week 2, and I'm trying to be ahead of the schedule because that will enable some of you to get ahead of the schedule as well so that you can be a little bit more flexible with your time. More on that later. The labs, all of this is going to be lab simulations, and we're going to be using a website that you're going to have to log into and create an account, and that is simutext.com. There will be a link posted on Blackboard under the announcements tab as to how to get an account with that. Here is my email. Here is how you contact me. So please contact me by that email address. That's how you contact me. Okay, next. Here is your grading. Just take a look at it. Pretty self-explanatory. There will be three exams, 100 points each. Chapter quizzes, 14 of them. The chapter quizzes, these are quizzes that can be they're open book, obviously, and because this is an online course and you can have your book sitting right there, they can be saved and resumed later. So you can use your book to go through them. So they are essentially helping to guide you through what vocabulary do you need to know. You can use the book to answer the questions, and you've got all week and sometimes even 2 weeks to answer these questions. So you'll just need to pay attention to the due dates, which I'll show you later in this lecture. Lab exams, there's 2 of them, each 100 points. The lab quizzes, 9 at 5 points each. The lab quizzes are not worth a huge amount of points, but those questions really do demand that you understand the material. So as you're going through the lab assignments, the last one down here, lab assignments, 9 of them at 15 points each, conscientiously go through those labs. You can kind of click through them, next. You've really got to read through all of those, all of the material, take notes on it, and make sure you really understand it, put in the time. And that way you will get as many points as possible on the lab quizzes. Total grade is, of course, all the points that you earn divided by the total points possible. Some of these points may change throughout the quarter, but I predict that very few and maybe even none will. But I do reserve the right to change some of this as we go. The first week, you are going to have to complete a syllabus quiz. So when you click on the syllabus quiz, you're going to be brought to here. And this is the same thing you'll see for every quiz. You can click on it, and then it doesn't immediately tell you to begin. It'll bring you to this site. Then you can click begin. Now, before you click begin, please read through all of the instructions. They're right here. It's called, they're titled instructions. So it'll tell you some things about the quiz. Firstly, this test can be saved and resumed later. It's a syllabus quiz. I'm also going to allow you multiple attempts on it, and I'm going to require that you get at least 4 out of 5 of the questions right. So you need 4 out of 5 right at a minimum, and that's because I need you to read the syllabus so that you understand what is expected in this course. So 4 out of 5, that's your minimum score. So you can just retake it because, as you can see, multiple attempts are allowed. It also says the due date. So if you are a little uncertain about something on the syllabus, you can click on the quiz itself and it'll say when it is due. It says this test is due on September 27th, 2020 at 11:59. Click begin to start the quiz. That's pretty self-explanatory. All right, lecture portion. It's a little small here, isn't it? So chapter quizzes, again, you got to pay attention to the due dates, which are included in the syllabus. The chapter quizzes have no time limit and can be saved and returned to later. No late quizzes will be accepted. You've really got to pay attention to those due dates, please. Please pay attention to them. Print off the syllabus, circle all the due dates, do whatever you got to do to organize your time. The lab exercises, these are going to be due really regularly. due on every Sunday night of the week at 11:59 p.m. every week. So at the end of the week. So basically, you'll have 7 days to do each one of them. Sorry, there's a little typo there. I'll get rid of that. Number 2, lab quizzes, a little bit tough, and they are also due on Sunday night at 11:59 p.m. every week. They can be found on Blackboard. The lab exercises that you will do, those are going to be on Simutext or SimBio. It depends on what part of the website you're at. It's called both things. So you're going to be doing the labs kind of in 2 places. One is at SimBio. Again, you'll get a link in the announcements, and you'll have to get an account. Ask me about it if you're having trouble. And when you finish the lab exercises, after that, you got to go back to Blackboard to finish these quizzes, 5 points each. The lab exams, also, there's 2 of them, like I already said. Finally, this is critical. You will fail this course if you do not pay attention to the following. Okay, so as this is a lab science course, it is university policy that at least 70% of the labs must be completed with a grade of C or higher. So you've got to do those labs, 70% at a minimum with a grade of C or higher. And for the labs themselves, those lab exercises on SimBio, Simutext, I am not going to be that harsh grading you. So it is really a kind of, it's not a done, not done, because you do have to answer some of the questions correctly, obviously. The part that is more difficult in terms of checking your understanding is, not there, is the lab quizzes, number 2 here. That is where you're really going to be checked for your understanding. Academic honesty. So you cannot work together taking the quizzes or taking the tests. You can use your book. I have not chosen to try to tell you you can't use the book or the internet to complete these, because the fact of the matter is that would be punishing students who are honest, because I have no way of stopping you from checking other websites online when you're doing all of the assignments. So that's pretty much that. You are welcome to use your book as you're completing all the quizzes and tests. Because of that, there will be time limits for them. So it is assumed that when you're taking the tests that you understand and know all of the information that we have covered. It isn't going to be like you have 20 hours to check all of your answers in the book. The assumption is that you could get those questions right without the book. So please conscientiously study as we are going through the course. That way, when you get to your exams, you will be ready for them. Do not put this off to the last second. The main difficulty in this course is the large amount of reading. If I could assign less reading in any way, I would, but it is essential. It's an essential part of the course. There's a lot of reading. The understanding part, see, I've got this sort of digital pen, it's not very good. The understanding part of this course is not the most difficult. Some of the biochemistry in our first couple of chapters can be a little bit challenging, but for the most part, you read the text several times, not the whole chapter, I don't mean that, but it's very normal to have to reread several paragraphs several times. When I am reading new text, I have to do that as well. But remember that even once you have understood all of the information, the second thing is remembering. So to that end, I encourage you to write notes. When you write things down, you're more likely to remember them. So understanding and remembering, write notes. I also encourage you to summarize your notes. So at the end of every couple of pages, the choice is yours. This is a college level course, so there's a fair amount of independence assumed here. My favorite strategy for practicing remembering all the material is to write summaries of my notes. Everyone learns differently though. So here is the lecture schedule. This does not include the labs. That'll be on a later page. So the lecture schedule, let's take a look. Let's just read all the headings. Students, you're responsible for all announced changes in the course syllabus and for keeping track of all of the due dates. The due dates are all listed right down here for lecture. The lecture schedule, it may have to change, but I suspect I'll probably not make any changes. So week 1, that's where we are now. The date is 9/21. So all these dates refer to the Monday at the beginning of each week. Week 1, we're going to be going over chapter 1 and 2. That's posted now. But the only due date here is your syllabus quiz, and that's due at the end of the week on 9/27 at 11:59 p.m. So pretty much all the due dates are at 11:59 p.m. at the end of the day. So I give you to the end of the day. But when are the chapter quizzes for these two chapters due? Chapter 1 and 2, please read this carefully. So they're not due until, in fact, 2 weeks later. So quizzes on chapters 1 and 2 are due at 11:59 on October 4th. So that's a while later. You've got about 2 weeks to get chapter 1 and 2 done. But please pay attention here. Chapter 3 comes along during that second week. So at the end of the second week, you're going to have quizzes on chapters 1, 2, and 3. They're all due at 11:59 on October 4th. So you should not wait until October 4th to begin working on these quizzes. You should begin right away. The reason that I have separated the quizzes out like this is so that you have a 2-week window to get these 3 chapters done. You can therefore manage your time a little bit more independently, as opposed to having to do 2 chapters this week during week 1 and then just 1 chapter during week 2. I'm also not I also don't want to split the chapters up between week 1 and 2. First half is due on week 1, second half is due week 2. So I've kind of blocked things off. Your first set of due dates, aside from the syllabus quiz, is over a period of about 2 weeks. Read these due dates, make a note of them, don't forget about them. Week 3 comes along, and we're going to have chapters 4 and 5, and the quizzes on chapters 4 and 5 will be due along with the exam that covers all 5 of the first chapters. They're all going to be due on October 18th. So from your last due date, October 4th here, October 4th, you've got about 14 days, 2 weeks until your next set of due dates. I encourage you to finish the chapter quizzes in advance of the exam. Don't wait until the last minute. I'm giving you the independence of getting these quizzes done in advance. The reason that I haven't put a due date during week 3 here is that I want to give you as much flexibility as possible. So you've got the weeks of week 3 and 4 to finish chapters 4 and 5, get those quizzes done, do some review, as I've written in under the chapter, do some review of chapters 1 through 5, and then take the exam that covers all those chapters. Similar trend for the next 3, the remainder of the quarter. I've blocked things off in different colors for the 3 different tests. So you can see exam 2 here, that in green here, see where I'm highlighting right here. That covers 6 through 8 and also 12. So 6 through 8, which is what we cover during weeks 5, 6, and then you have week 7 to review them. Okay, moving on. Bio 101 lab schedule, fall 2020. So lab point values. All the labs are due at the end of the week. They are assigned at 11:59 p.m. on Sunday unless otherwise stated. There is one kind of unusual one here. This is microscopy, and we have to do a microscopy lab in accordance with RCC policy for this course, but SimBio doesn't have a lab that meets these requirements. So this week 2, sorry it's so early in the quarter, but week 2 is going to be a lab that'll be entirely posted on Blackboard under the week 2 folder, and directions will be posted there. It's pretty simple. I've gone through it before with students, and they generally did really well on it. What else? So there's a couple of different kinds of labs, and this will become more clear as we get through. The first one, experimental design, you're going to get 5 points for getting the feedback questions right, and then 10 points for the graded questions at the end. I'll talk about those in a little bit. The week 3 lab, so that's this right here, diffusion. It's a little different. It's a workbook. So here, 10 points for the graded questions on SimBio, and then you're going to basically complete this PDF workbook, and you'll have to submit that on Blackboard. There will be an assignment in this same week's folder for submitting that workbook, and you'll get another 5 points for that. More information for that will be posted during week 3. The first lab. This is what you should see when you get to the first lab. Understanding experimental design. A few things you can click on. This is pretty obviously, it's going to bring you to the next page. The notes function, as I've gone through the labs, I didn't really use the notes function. Over here, you can click on it and it'll expand a list of the parts of the lab that you're going to do. So when you click on that, let me direct your attention to the upper left corner of the screen here, right here. You click on that and then you see all of this stuff. That's the whole lab and you got to get it done. It takes a couple hours. If this was an in-person lab, then we would have about a 3-hour lab section. So it takes a fair amount of time. If you have questions about the lab, please be very specific. So for example, if you have a question about well-designed experiments, then please say, write an email to me and say, Mr. McLeod, I have a question. It's in section 1, and it's in the well-designed experiments. And then tell me, even look up here in the middle, follow my this little red line here. Tell me what page it is on as well, so that I can most efficiently and accurately answer your questions. As you go through the lab, this is the first question you're going to come to. These are called the feedback questions. Question 1.1, feedback questions. Feedback questions. These are going to be worth 5 points for all of the labs that are not workbooks. Now, you can select select an answer. So say you select this one, then you can click check answer. And if you're wrong, you can change your answer to the right one and you'll get the points. So this is essentially done, not done. Those 5 points, you can just click your way through to get them right. The only trouble with that strategy is, well, you just need to make sure that you understand why each of the questions is what they're asking. So why is it that the right answer is the right answer? Because at the end of each lab, you'll get some graded questions, and those are going to be a little more challenging. You won't be able to just check all of your answers. The graded questions, you've got to understand the content to get them right. Also, these questions here will also help check your understanding so that when you take the lab quizzes, you'll be more likely to get as many points as possible correct. It is necessary to read all of the information in the lab. So again, this is an online course and it'll be a new experience for some of you. You've really just got to explore all of the options in our online resources. So click around, check out all the buttons, read through all of the sections that are available to you, and then of course send me an email if you're having trouble and I'll be happy to help. This is again just a picture of the first lab that you're going to do. So just explore all the buttons. Like I said, the notes thing, I didn't use it when I went through them. You may find that useful. Click on the questions, see what's available there. The home screen, look at all the icons, click through them, experiment, and see what they've got to offer. There's a calculator here. Again, I didn't use that, but you can use it. So click on all these things, read through everything so that you get all the directions. Lastly, to go back to the lecture material, this is your textbook, Biology, 12th edition. So this is what it looks like, and it's a great book. And that's all. I hope you enjoy the course. I'm looking forward to having a good, smooth online course. And also, let me say one thing about the online SimBio labs. Last quarter and the past quarters, students have been asked to buy a lab kit, which was $200, and it was out of your pocket. You had to pay for it. So if you're ever frustrated with the online thing, This is our first quarter going through it, so please extend to me, a little bit of patience on any of those frustrating online software problems. At least we have managed to save you $200 because you don't have to buy the lab kit anymore. So I feel pretty good about that, and I think that these online lab simulations are a dramatic improvement. Welcome to Buy 101, and I look forward to being your instructor for the quarter. Bye bye.